Hello everyone! Welcome back to another modelled writing video. So today we are going to look at two task 1 questions. Now task 1 is when you'll be given the piece of data. This is in the IELTS writing section, so you'll be given a piece of data and then it's your job to report back on that data by selecting the main features and making comparisons where they're relevant as well. So the task never changes. We're always reporting back on the piece of data, but the data does change, and we're going to have a look at two different types that you might get in the exam today. And as we go along, we will be talking about ways in which to structure your answers, top tips for those high band scores, and we'll be doing it. I'll be doing the write-up so that you can see how to approach the question in general. Okay, well, let's get started then. We're going to look at maps to start off with. Now, maps can cause some trouble because there's slightly different language that you use for maps, but essentially it's the same approach, just with these differences in how you describe it. So I'll show you today that it's quite straightforward. All right, so here is the question. The maps below show changes in the city of Nelson in recent times. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Okay, so same task. We're reporting the main features and we're making comparisons. However, this time we're looking at maps, so let's see the maps themselves. Okay, here we are. So we have Nelson in 2000 on the left-hand side, and then we've got Nelson on the right. We've also got where north is, so that's going to be really useful for the directions, the cardinal points. Okay, so Nelson goes from a quite sparse city, you could say, or quite sparse areas around the city centre, to much more built up with lots of new buildings that have been constructed. Okay, so how I like to approach maps. I like to, often in maps, there are things that have changed. Some things have stayed the same, and other things are completely new that weren't there before. So let's have a look and see what categories we have here. So, for example, we have the old market. That's changed to a new shop. What else has changed? Well, the forest has become a new shopping centre. The university stayed the same. There is an addition of a train line and the new train station, so that's changed and moved as well. Entirely new buildings. We've got the halls of residence, restaurant, bars and clubs. So the port area has received a lot of attention over the years. New covered market and new shopping. Oh, we've talked about the shopping centre. That was Forest before. Also, the city centre has got a new bike rental scheme there. Okay, so maybe we can do our first group about some changes. So let's talk about what things have changed to. So we've got the market to the new shop. So I'll put markets. We can talk about, the road actually has become for pedestrians. We can talk about the road. The train station. We don't have to talk about everything. And we could also mention that the university has not, yes, the university has not changed. Maybe we can begin that, but begin the group with that, but then we can go into the changes. Okay, so there's some changes, and then there are some completely new aspects as well, such as the shopping centre, the shop itself, and the hall of residence. and the port area we can talk about. So lots of new aspects. Well, actually, we were going to say shopping centre has changed, or we can leave it in new. That's okay. Okay, so the overview then. Nelson was the area around Nelson was quite sparse. That's a good word. Not very much there in 2000, and this has changed to a more built up area. Well, that's our brief overview there. We'll obviously add to that in the write up, but there we go. Just make that a bit bigger. Okay. So we've got our two groups and then we've got our overview as well. So this is going to form our nice plan for our essay. This will help us stay focused and ensure that we're answering the question properly. All right then, so let's go to the write-up itself, and we're going to start by paraphrasing the first sentence here. This is what we do in all task ones and all task twos, in fact. Okay, the maps below show changes in the city of Nelson in recent times. The images, we could say portray, the images portray changes or the difference between Nelson in 2000 and Nelson, between the city of Nelson in 2000 and Nelson today. The images portray the difference between the city of Nelson in 2000 and Nelson today. Okay. In the first map, the area around the city was fairly sparse compared with now, where there are many new buildings that have been constructed. So we're just with maps for our overview. We just want to say the difference, really. If there's two maps, you can just say, oh, it's gone from a fairly sparse area to more buildings. Maybe it's changed the type of area that it is. Maybe it's gone from farmland, grassland to a residential area. So that's what we're looking out for with maps. Okay, so let's go and think of some changes. But first we can say the one thing that hasn't changed, which is the university. The only building to remain the same is the university in the let's think about our directions, north of the city centre. Okay. Apart from this, many changes have been witnessed. So we're thinking about the changes rather than anything else. Let's talk about the old market. The main one being the old market west of the centre is currently, or maybe has been transformed. That's a good word for changed. Transformed into a new shop. Okay, so that's the biggest change. We could talk about the road as well. The main road. Let's do a nice linking phrase like additionally. The main road running west to east was previously for vehicles, and now it is strictly for and now it has become pedestrianized. And now it has become pedestrianized, and we're checking our spelling as we're going along. Okay, so that looks good. Let's talk about another change. We could say the train station. The original, maybe say moreover, the original train station has moved from the west and is now positioned between the university and the city centre. Which in fact has a new bike rental scheme. Okay, let's read this paragraph back. We've got quite a lot of changes going on here, so we'll see if this is okay. The only building to remain the same is the university north of the city centre. Apart from this, many changes have been witnessed. The main one being the old market west of the centre has been transformed into a new shop. Additionally, the main road running west to east was previously for vehicles, and now it has become pedestrianised. Moreover, the original train station has moved from the west and is now positioned between the university and the city centre, which in fact has a new bike rental scheme. Okay, so these are some changes. Now we can go into the fact that there are some completely new additions as well. So we could say something like, on the other hand, there has also been, we've used original, new, there has also been new building. There are many new buildings and maybe utilities that have been constructed, built, that have been made, maybe. That have been designed and maybe erected. That have been designed and erected. So, we can still sort of talk about the main features. Let's pick maybe the Hall of Residence. The tallest structure is now the Hall of Residence in the Northwest. Many floors high. This now sits next to the university. Okay. Let's talk about the new covered market as well. Oh, actually, maybe that was a change. New covered market, old market. That's okay. I don't think it matters too much. So, to the east of the city, maybe we can do a nice linking phrase. Also, to the east of the city centre, there is a new covered market. Let's talk about the port area as well. So, the most striking area of development, however, is the port, placed in the south of running in the south of the city, or if one heads to the south of the city, they will now find bars and clubs overlooking the water, should we say. Okay, I think that's good. Let's have a read back and see how it sounds. On the other hand, today there are many new buildings and utilities that have been designed and erected. The tallest structure is now the Hall of Residence in the northwest. Many floors high, this now sits next to the university. Also, to the east of the city centre, there is a new covered market. The most striking area of development, however, is the port. If one heads to the south of the city, they will now find bars and clubs overlooking the water. Okay, I think that's good. We haven't touched upon everything. It's not part of the question, but we can count the words and see how we're doing for this one. Okay, so this has come to a bit of a longer answer here, but that's all right. 212 words. So I think this is a reasonable amount, and you can see that we've organized it the same way. We've done our paraphrasing, we've done our overview, and then we've done our two groups. So that's how I like to approach maps. Of course, the vocabulary is a bit different. We've included words to do with construction and cardinal directions, the points north, east, south, west. But apart from that, really, it stays the same. So we can approach this in the same way. So I hope if you've been struggling with the idea of maps, not sure where to begin, hopefully this has shown you that you can approach them confidently. Okay, let's go on to our next task, which is going to be a line graph. The graph shows data about the annual earnings of three bakeries in Calgary, 2000 to 2010. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Okay, so let's bring in the data. Right, here we go. So this is our line graph. We've got our bakeries down at the bottom here. Amandine Bakery, Marie Bake Shop, and Bolo Cakery. We've got 2000 here, the year 2000, and 2010 here. And oh, this is the yearly income in dollars on the y-axis. Okay, so we've got general trends. Well, Bolo Cakery and Amandine follow quite a similar trend. They both increase towards the end. Oh, Marie Bake Shop is a bit more fluctuating and actually decreases over the time. So let's think about our groupings. Now, you can do different things for the groupings. Maybe you like to choose a point in the yearly income. You could pair two bakeries together and then do one bakery in the next group. For this one, I think when there's only three bakeries in this case, or lines, I think it's nice to split up the years. So we've got quite a nice middle point here at 2005. And so we can really just split it down the middle. There we go. Okay, so what is our overview going to focus on? Well, Amandine Bakery. This is past tense as well, point to note. Always remember what tense you're talking about. Like we did in the maps, when it was today, we talked in the present tense. In the past, we can talk in the past tense. So Amandine Bakery saw the biggest increase over time, whilst Marie Bake Shop declined, something along these lines. So our sweeping statement, that's what we want to make here. Okay then, so we've got our two groups, we've got our overview. I think we can now go to the write-up. We've got our question and we've got some nice words. We've got some verbs that talk about the trends, so different synonyms for decreasing, stayed the same, increasing. And when you combine these with adverbs, they make for really nice sentences and really nice ways to report back on what is happening. So we'll use this. You won't have this in the exam, unfortunately, but it's here today to help us. And here we've got the data, of course. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is paraphrase. The graph shows data about the annual earnings of three bakeries in Calgary from 2000 to 2010. Okay, so we could be more specific. The line graph displays information regarding the yearly earnings, the yearly takings of three different, it's hard to paraphrase bakeries, that's okay, in Calgary from the years 2000 to 2010. The line graph displays information regarding the yearly takings of three different bakeries in Calgary from the years 2000 to 2010. Okay, to the point there, quite short that one, that's okay. Now we can go into our overview, our sweeping statement. So at first glance, Amandine We're making sure we're spelling this right. Bakery, capitals for the name. Amanda Bakery saw the most significant increase over time in earnings. It's okay to repeat, to use the word from the question once or twice, as long as we're not repeating ourselves too much. That's the most important thing. Whilst Marie Bake Shop witnessed a decline over the years. At first glance, a Mandan bakery saw the most significant increase over time in earnings, whilst Marie Bake Shop witnessed a decline over the years. Okay then, so I think that's good. We can now go to our first group, and that is going to be the 2000 to 2005. So we're just going to draw upon the main features, and we don't have to report on everything. Okay, so in 2005, Bolo Cakery was receiving the least money for that year, or received, maybe received the least money for that. Oh, sorry, not 2005, and 2000. Sorry, that's why going back and editing is so important. For that year at $20,000. You can do the dollar sign as well if you want to. I might do a mixture just to keep the variation going. Okay, so Bola Cake received the least money for that year at $20,000. On the other hand, Marie Bake Shop was took the most at just over, I would say, just over $80,000. There we go. Right, okay, that seems good. I'm going to mention Amandan Bakery at the end of the group because it stays the same throughout. So I'll just put a line at the end of this paragraph to say that it kept the same, it plateaued throughout all of these years. Okay, what's happening in 2001 or 2002? Maybe we could do anything significant happened. 2003, Bolo Cafe increased from 2002 to 2003. Bolo Cakery we could say rapidly increased, or we've used increased, I think, rapidly grew in income. It reached nearly $40,000 by the end of 2003. Meanwhile, Marie Bake Shop, after an initial rise, was steadily declining. And in 2003, it stood it earned the same figure as in 2000. Okay, so we're just describing the trends here. Actually, Bolo Cakery stayed the same for the rest, so maybe we can add a line about those together. So let's talk about the rise that it did in 2004. It then fluctuated again and rose in 2004 to $90,000. Okay, and now let's talk about Amandine. Throughout this whole, maybe let's talk about Bolo Cakery from 2003 and 2005. Bolo Cakery plateaued from 2003 and 2005. And let's do a nice bracket to say just under 40,000. We mentioned it before, but just to be sure. Additionally, Amandine Bakery stabilized the entire stabilized the entire 5-year period. Let's do another bracket, and it's about, I would say the increments of 20,000. So we've got 50,000, 50, maybe around 55, approximately 55,000. Okay, let's read this back. It's quite a big paragraph here. In 2000, Bolo Cakery received the least money for that year at $20,000. On the other hand, Marie Bake Shop took the most at just over 80,000. From 2002 to 2003, Bolo Cakery rapidly grew in income. It reached nearly 40,000 by the end of 2003. I feel like we're repeating ourselves here. Maybe we can take that away because it's implied here from 2002 to 2003. Meanwhile, Marie Bake Shop, after an initial rise, was steadily declining, and in 2003 it earned the same figure as in 2000. It then fluctuated again and rose in 2004 to $90,000. Bolo Cakery plateaued from 2003 and 2005, just under $40,000. Additionally, Amandine Bakery stabilized the entire 5-year period, approximately 55,000. Okay, so let's talk about after 2005. From 2005, a man in bakery saw a significant, have we significant, surge to reach almost 100,000 in 2008 to witness almost $100,000 in 2008. Okay, and then let's talk about bolo cakery. Bolo cakery followed a similar trend and obtained 60,000 in that same year. Okay, so we're talking about their trends. 2008, however, saw another fall for Marie Bake Shop. Plunging by almost 20,000. So we're just using the difference now, $20,000. Plunging by almost $20,000. All three bakeries don't change much in the last 2 years. All three bakeries do not remain relatively stable for the last 3 years, with Amandine Bakery receiving 11,000, 10,000, 100,000, 120,000. So this is about 105,000, roughly 105,000. In 2010, let's do a line, the most during the whole study. Okay, let's read this back. From 2005, Amandine Bakery saw a significant surge to witness almost 100,000 in 2008. Bodo Cakery followed a similar trend and obtained 60,000 in that same year. 2008, however, saw another fall for Marie Bake Shop, plunging by almost $20,000. All three bakeries do not remain relatively stable for the last 3 years, with Amandine Bakery receiving roughly 105,000 in 2010. Just checking that figure here. Yeah, I think so. The most during the whole, or the highest, the most profitable, maybe, profitable during the whole study. Okay, this is a longer essay here. Let's count the words for this one. Okay, so this actually wasn't as big as I thought it would be. It's 214 words, which is fairly achievable for this part of the exam, I would say. So you've seen how we've approached the line graph, and also we've done maps today, which are two two pieces of data that can definitely come up in the exam. So I hope that's been helpful. These videos aim to just go through the process, and obviously I talk along with any tips and tricks and things like that as the video progresses. So I hope you found this useful in your practice. Let us know if you've got any questions or comments. We really like to hear from you, and we'll see you in the next video.